Hello again. In this video, we're going to briefly discuss interval notation. So we might want to represent the following. All the real numbers between 2 and 7. Interval notation lets us do this compactly. There are, in fact, a few ways we could represent this, but there are subtle differences between them, depending on whether we want to include the 2 and depending on whether we want to include the 7. So, in all of these cases, whether we're including both the 2 and the 7, or neither the 2 nor the 7, or one but not the other, we're going to have 2, 7. And then we are going to have all the permutations of open parentheses and closed brackets. A closed bracket is telling you to include the number next to it. An open parenthesis is telling you do not include that number. So taking this as our example, it represents all the numbers between 2 and 7, including 2, but not including 7. And just verbally going through the rest, all the numbers between 2 and 7, including 7, but not including 2. All the numbers between 2 and 7, including 2 and including 7. All the numbers between 2 and 7, not including 2 and not including 7. And that's the basics of interval notation. There are a few further things we can do with interval notation. Let's say you want all the numbers greater than 2. This isn't an interval with a lower and an upper bound, but if we think of this as all the numbers between 2 and infinity, that will justify the following notation. Here are all the numbers greater than 2. If you wanted to include 2 in that, we could use a closed bracket instead, or the numbers greater than or equal to 2. We can also consider, for example, all the numbers less than something. Say all the numbers less than 7. It's going to be a variation on this notation. We'll go from negative infinity to 7. That's all the numbers less than 7. If we wanted all the numbers less than or equal to 7, we just turn this into a closed bracket to include it. Notice, in regards to closed brackets, in none of these 4 cases do we have a closed bracket next to the infinity symbol. Infinity isn't a number. We cannot include it in an interval of numbers, which is what this is. Also, one final note related to this, we use this notation very frequently. In the real world, this notation is a lot less common because in the real world, it's very likely that 0 is providing a lower bound to the interval. Like if your interval is radii or lengths or times or distances or speed or anything like that, none of those things can be negative. So they all have to be greater than or equal to 0. An interval that looks like this includes negative numbers. So it shows up less frequently in practice. One final remark. We sometimes want to put intervals together. All the numbers between 0 to 1 or between 9 and 10. So just looking at this set of numbers, 0.5 is in it, because 0.5 is in this interval. 9.7 is in it, because 9.7 is in this interval. 5 is not in it. 5 is not in this interval, and 5 is not in this interval. It's not in this or this. The way to put intervals together like this, symbolically, is to write the intervals and then put between them this symbol. It looks kind of like an uppercase U, which is not a coincidence. This is called taking the union of intervals.